All right, everybody. Right now, we're going to move into the advanced program with the mat and ball exercises. Obviously, as we stated before, because we're here on a grappling mat, having a Pilates mat is really not that necessary. However, if you don't have the benefit of being able to be training at your school, having a Pilates mat is a nice thing to do because it really will make it a lot easier on your back and your shoulders and your hips. So, our first exercise in the advanced program is going to be another variation of the 100. In this particular case, I'm going to be laying down flat on my back. We're here with my arms at my sides, palms facing down. I'm going to pull my feet in close to my butt, and I'm going to start to execute a crunch. I'm going to be sucking my belly button in towards my spine, crunching my chin towards my chest, and tightening my core. Now I'm extending my feet, keeping them down, keeping them pointed out at a 45 or at least about 45, sub 45 angle, and I'm going to keep my hands at my sides, maintaining this crunch here, shoulder off the mat for a count of 100. I should be inhaling and exhaling on a count of 5, and I'm going to maintain this position for a count of 100 seconds. One more time. Flat on my back, feet come close to my butt. I crunch up, chin to the chest, belly button to the spine, legs straight out, toes pointed, shoulders off the mat. Arms always in line with the shoulders, and inhaling and exhaling on the count of 5 while maintaining the position itself for a 100 count. And that's the advanced version of the 100. All right, everybody, our next exercise is called the rollover. Once again, this is one of those exercises that's really going to be important for developing the spinal flexibility that you're going to need to play some of those more unorthodox guard games like the inverted guard. Basically, on this particular one, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be laying flat on my back. It's actually important to note that you don't want to be trying to play too much around with this stretch until you've really worked a little bit to increase your spinal flexibility and spinal mobility. You don't, one of the three things you really don't want to bother are your neck, back, and your knees, because if you injure those, you could be out for a while and it can be permanent. So make sure that when you're dealing with your back and your neck, always be very careful. It's way more important to take this slow and easy than it is to try to whip yourself up some flexibility in 2 weeks and get hurt. So as always, take it nice and easy. From here, I'm going to start flat on my back with my palms at my sides. From here, as soon as I'm ready, I'm going to start to tighten. I'm going to tighten my stomach, and I'm going to tighten my core, and I'm going to take my belly button down and towards my spine. From here now, I'm going to bring my hips up and take them back, and take my legs backwards over my head. Now, once my legs are even with the ground at this point, I'm going to bring them forward to touch the ground. I want to try to extend my hips as much as I can here, but I don't want to be relying on the flexibility of my neck like this. I want to be relying on the support of my shoulders and my arms. So notice how my arms are out at more of like a 30-degree angle of my body here. That's going to give you the support that you need. Once again, right now, we're stretching out our lower back. Exhale. Return to your base position. Again, hands to the mat. Tighten your core, suck your belly button into your spine. And return. And that's the advanced rollover stretch. Our next exercise is called the one-leg circle. This is going to be a good one for working out not only your core as usual, but also your hip flexors and your hip joint as well. So basically what we're going to do here is I'm going to start lying flat on my back. I'm going to place my palms by my side. From here, I'm going to tighten my core muscles, and I'm going to suck my belly button into my spine, pointing my toes, and I'm now going to take my right leg, or it could be left, really doesn't matter, it's multi-directional on this one, 90 degrees to a right angle. Now from this position, while keeping this leg straight, it's very important that my off leg stays quiet. It can't be moving all over the place on me. I need to make sure my leg is perpendicular to the ground, my right leg in this case. My left leg is creating the right angle. So what you can do is you can think about it, rather than bringing one leg perpendicular to the ground and having your other one moving, is you need to maintain a perpendicular angle with both of your legs, which means that if my left leg here is flat to the ground, my right leg is all the way up in the air, I can't be letting my left leg move to correct any, otherwise I'm losing my perpendicular angle. So again, palms to the side, tighten your core, straight up. Now here, we're going to be making small circles, inhaling on the near side, exhaling on the outside. And you can make increasingly large circles, provided that your hips stay still. Once you're done, after repeating that 5 to 10 times, leg comes down, and we switch. And that's called the one leg circle. Our next movement is an advanced variation of the rocker, and this one's going to be done with open legs. This is going to be good for strengthening your core, and it's also going to stretch out your back. A couple quick tips on this one. It's important to keep proper spinal alignment here, and you also want to make sure that you're looking up. This is actually not going to be, this is going to be different than many of the exercises we do, because although I'm going to be tightening my core, I'm not going to be looking down at my stomach. So for here, what I'm going to start by doing is I'm going to start up with sitting up with bent knees, about my feet about shoulder width apart. I'm now going to reach and grab my ankles, and I'm going to hold, and I'm now going to breathe in, tightening my core, and I'm going to sit back and balance on the small of my back, or the back of my hips. Start to pull my feet apart. From here, I'm going to roll back onto my shoulders, maintaining the stretch, and balance. It's important that you're trying to stretch your legs out as much as you possibly can here. You don't want to be holding your legs bent like this. You want to make sure that your legs are going as far as they possibly can. Ideally, you'd like to be gripping down around the ankle. If you have to come up a little bit, on the lower half of your shin, no biggie. Basically, again, all I'm doing here is I'm sitting upright, grabbing both my ankles. My feet can be starting to be put together. And now, from a different angle, what we're doing here is I'm going to start to sit back. My feet up, I'm balanced. Rock back on my shoulders, maintaining the position here, and sit back up, using my core to keep me balanced. And we finish. And that's the advanced variation of the rocker with the open legs. All right, our next exercise in the advanced section is the corkscrew. This is gonna be a little bit different than before, and all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be laying flat on my back with my palms at my sides. Again, I'm not going to be crunching my chin towards my chest. I'm just going to be tightening my abs as I bring my feet up. I'm going to start them at a 90-degree angle, and I'm going to bring them back down to 45 or south of 45. Now here, I'm making sure that my feet are close together. My legs are touching one another. There's no separation here. And I'm going to bring my legs down, side, be going left and right. From a different angle, we start here. Palms on the mat. Bring the feet up. Lower 45. Drop side to side. Make sure that you're breathing properly, and it's important. We have to constantly be tightening our abdominals, your core muscles, sucking your belly button in towards your spine. Be sure to repeat this exercise at least 5 times, and that's your basic corkscrew. All right, our next exercise in the advanced series is going to be called the swan dive. Basically, for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by being flat on my stomach with my palms at shoulder width, directly underneath my shoulders. This is going to look very, very similar to the upward dog stretches you're going to see from yoga. I'm going to be face down on the mat, palms at my shoulders. Up. I'm extending my arms all the way, and I'm sinking my hips into the mat. I go down, 1, 2, 3. It's important that when I am all the way up, I'm pulling my belly button in towards my spine. On the 4th time up, when you come back down, I'm going to maintain this elevation of my chest. Imagining my chest is being, that there's a string in the middle of my shoulder blades being pulled up towards the ceiling. And now I'm going to extend my arms ahead of me, and I'm going to extend my feet up behind me. My hips should be coming up off, my thighs should be coming up off the mat. My chest is up off the mat, and I'm going to hold this, making sure that I'm constantly tightening my core. So again, this is the 4th time up, down, and out. Exhale, return. After the initial 3 spine stretches, you're going to go to the swan stretch 3 to 6 times. From another angle, we're starting again. Palms shoulder width apart, looking straight ahead. I tighten my core as I inhale. Exhale. This is the fourth. Go down. I lift my feet up off the mat, toes pointed, and my arms are out in front of me. Tighten my core the entire time. We're going to repeat that end series 5 to 6 times. So we had the initial 1, 2, 3, up, and on the 4th time down, we're going into the swan stretch, which is again going to be repeated 5 to 6 times. And that's the basic swan dive right there. Our next exercise is called the single leg kick, and this is going to be an advanced variation of something you've already seen before. Again, for this one, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be starting down by laying flat on my chest. Here, I'm going to raise my chest using my forearms, and my elbows are going to support me. Now, my hands are going to be making fists directly in front of me, and I'm going to tighten my abdominals, tighten my core. Once again, pulling my belly button in towards my spine. From here, I'm going to kick myself. I'm going to kick with my right leg, and I'm going to try to take it back in an explosive yet still controlled fashion. Kick. While inhaling, I take my leg back halfway and kick again. Now, inhaling again, I kick the other leg. So, what this is doing is this is stretching my hamstrings and it's stretching my quads a little bit. And this is also giving me a good abdominal workout here. So, one more time. I inhale, go halfway back, kick again. As my right leg returns to the mat, I inhale again, kick with my left. Go back halfway, switch. And this is your your advanced single leg kick. All right, our next movement in the advanced series is called the neck pull. This is going to be a different variation of the one that you've seen in the core program. And what I'm going to do here is I'm again going to start flat on my back. My palms are at my sides. I'm going to reach both hands behind my head, and I can either interlock my fingers, or rather what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to just touch my fingers like we did before, with my thumbs running down the side of my head behind my ear. Here, what I'm going to do is again tightening my core. I'm going to be maintaining proper posture. I need to have proper spinal alignment in this case, and I'm going to sit upright, use my core, and lean forward to touch towards my toes. I should be exhaling at this point, and now coming back up, one vertebrae at a time. We're going to be going back towards the mat. And we come back down. One more time. Toes out. Actually, let's change the angle. Toes out. And that's going to be your advanced neck pull. And that's going to help you out a lot. Once again, those positions where you end up stacked, where your opponent's pushing into you, like kind of contorting your spine, this is going to help you out to be very comfortable in those sort of positions. Our next exercise is called the scissors. This is going to be excellent for improving your balance and flexibility, and it also stretches out your spine and your thighs. What we're going to do here is we're going to start by laying flat on your back, hands to sides, and your feet up. From here, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be bringing my knees up to me, and now I'm going to be extending my feet up in a shoulder stand. I'm going to use my hands to support my hips. My feet should be upright. And now, with my feet over top of my face, I don't want to be sitting out here because I'm going to be imbalanced. I want my hips slightly out in front of my body, and my feet should be directly over or slightly behind my head. Now, I'm going to bring my legs forward and backwards in a scissors motion, and this is going to be completing the exercise. Back and forth, this should be controlled and balanced. Come back down. Again, once again, as you start this motion, we tighten the core. Up, shoulder stand. Again, bringing in your navel and all the way into your spine, sucking your belly button in. Coming back down and completing the motion. This is going to be good because in this particular stretch, you're stretching out your spine, but it's also getting you comfortable in the position that you're going to be using a lot in jiu-jitsu, which is going to be a position where you're stacked and up on your shoulders. If you ever played the inverted guard at all, you're going to constantly understand, you're going to realize that you're always on your shoulders, Granby rolling around, and it's important to be comfortable there. Also, this position right here, the shoulder stand, is a position you'll see people use in jiu-jitsu, because a lot of times when someone's attempting to pass your guard and you're unable to prevent it from pushing a leg down, what you can do is you can use the same concept here that we are using in the shoulder stand, where I'm supporting my hips, and you can support your leg. You can support your leg, and it's going to prevent you from being stacked, from being passed. So if someone's pushing my leg down, attempting to pass, I can also put my hand there and create a brace, or my hand here on my hip and create a brace that's going to allow me to keep my hips elevated in the position that I need to. Because if I am playing the guard, the inverted guard, I can't allow my hips to be coming down like this. My hips need to constantly be up. So this stretch is excellent because it illustrates a couple of positions that we're going to be using, which is on the shoulders. We're working around here, and it's also conceptually sound. It's conceptually introducing a concept right here of supporting your own limbs with other limbs. So again, this is called the scissors, and it's the ninth exercise in the advanced program. All right, the next exercise in the advanced program is called the bicycle. It's going to look very, very similar. The starting position is going to be very similar to the scissors in that we're going to be starting and we're going to be getting ourselves into the shoulder stand position. So again, we're starting flat on our back, palms at the sides, bring your knees up, extend. Now from here, rather than staying close together like in a scissors motion, I'm going to bring my feet further apart. And now, in a bicycling motion, I'm going to take my legs straight down. Be going just as if I'm riding a super huge, like old school bike with the giant one wheel and the tiny little wheel in the back, bringing my legs around. This is going to be an excellent motion. It's going to be used for core strength, and also leg flexibility and leg dexterity. And the balance position that you're going to gain from that position is going to be invaluable again when you're playing that sort of goofy upside down guard position. So again, this is called the bicycle. All right, our next exercise in the advanced series is called the shoulder bridge. This isn't too complicated, but it's going to be an excellent back stretch and an excellent core workout. All right, so I'm flat on my back, palms facing down at my sides, my feet are shoulder width apart. Now, I'm going to inhale and simultaneously tighten my core, taking my belly button towards my spine. And I'm going to exhale as I reach my way through the top of the motion. I inhale again once I reach the top of the bridge, maintaining the position, constantly keeping my core tight, never letting myself rest. And now I exhale as I reach the bottom of the motion and my tailbone touches the mat. Again. Making sure to keep your core tight. Exhale on the way down again. Inhale once you reach the mat. Again, this exercise should be repeated 10 to 12 times, and you should make sure that you're holding the motion at the top, you're holding the bridge at the top for at least 10 to 15 seconds. And that's your basic shoulder bridge. All right, everybody. Our next exercise in the advanced series, number 12, is going to be the jackknife. This is going to be a good one for increasing your core strength and also your back flexibility. To start with here, I'm going to lay on my back flat on the mat, palms facing down, and my knees up. Here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten my core and inhale as I bring my feet up 90 degrees, and now I'm leaning over, but notice how I'm not coming all the way back here. In this particular case, I'm keeping my lower back elevated above the mat here, but I am not allowing my feet to go travel too far past my head. So we're here, I'm maintaining the position, keeping my core tight. Again, hands flat to the mat. I bring my feet up 90 degrees. I rotate over, and I stay in this jackknife position. My hips should be out. My hips should not be elevating towards a 90-degree angle. My feet and my body should be forming an acute angle, probably a little bit south of 45 degrees, maybe 40 degrees. And here, I'm using my hands and my arms to maintain this position, tightening my core, and I'm not allowing myself to come up on my neck. As we said before, this stretch should be on my shoulders, stretching out my lower back, my lower and middle back. Once we're here, exhale, and return to the mat. And again, this exercise is called the jackknife, and it's excellent for increasing your flexibility and it's a good cool down exercise. Our next exercise, number 13 in the advanced program, is going to be called the hip twist. In this particular exercise, we're going to start sitting upright with the knees bent. From here, I need to make sure that I keep my spine upright and I keep my posture looking directly forward. Now, I'm going to suck my stomach into my spine, take my hands backwards. I don't want to put my elbows all the way on the mat, but we're going to be elevated about right here. This should be about 20 degrees between your elbow and the mat. So we're here. I'm now going to lean backwards, tightening my core, and I'm going to extend my legs out in a V-type angle, just south of 45 degrees. Now from here, I'm going to be exhaling as I move my legs, circling together slowly around. I can move them in a figure 8 sort of motion. I can move in circles, and I can change direction, breathing normally. It's important that I don't want my upper body shifting all over the place. I need to make sure that we stay largely stationary here. So again, when you're doing this particular movement, make sure that you're sitting as upright as you possibly can in the beginning and your spine stays straight in the end. I don't want to be hunched in. We're here. And then we change the direction of the movement. We should be repeating this exercise 5 to 7 times per side, making sure we're going in a small circle. You go in too large of a circle, it's going to rock your upper body, but the greater control that you have, the greater muscular strength that you have in control, the larger the circle is going to be able to be. So you're going to work yourself from small to large, and that's going to give you that added core strength that you need that's going to be extremely useful when defending your guard. Moving on to number 14. This exercise is called swimming. What we're going to be doing here is I'm going to be laying down flat on my stomach, my head on my hands. For demonstration purposes, I'm looking at the camera, but when we're actually doing the exercise, I'll be face down, forehead on the mat. Now here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my belly button in towards my spine, tighten my core. And now I'm going to inhale deeply as I do that, and I'm going to bring my right leg up 3 inches off the ground, 3 to 6 inches off the ground, and alternate. All this entire time, I'm maintaining a tight abdominal region, and I'm tightening my core. I'm inhaling, exhaling, when I bring my leg back down. Now, once I'm comfortable with this, quick point, I should make sure there's no pressure on my lower back. I don't want to be straining my back here, because it's actually supposed to be strengthening my leg muscles and lower back and stretching them. If there's a strain, stop immediately. Once you're comfortable with the base motion, which once again is started here, tightening the core, inhaling deeply, bringing the leg up, exhaling and alternating, we're going to get our arms involved and go through the full swimming motion. I'm going to stretch both of my arms out in front of me in line with my shoulders. Now, I'm going to alternate. My left leg and my right arm are going to come up at the exact same time. Remember, this entire time, you should be tightening your core, sucking your belly button into your spine. Inhale as you bring your arm and leg up. Switch. And again, that's number 14 in the advanced program, and that exercise is called swimming. All right, everyone, our next exercise in the advanced program is called the upward leg pull. This is going to be an excellent stretch for your abdomen. And basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start by sitting upright on the mat, with good posture, my feet out in front of me. My hands are going to be shoulder width apart, palms facing forward. My fingertips should be facing forward. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift my body into a plank position, angled, balancing on my heels. I need to make sure that my heels and my shoulders and my hips are all on the same plane. So once we lift up, I'm going to make sure before we lift up, I need to make sure that I'm sucking in my abdomen, sucking in my stomach, and pulling my belly button towards my spine, inhaling deeply. Once upright, I'm going to lift my right leg up, hold, and back down. At the same time that I lift up, I'm going to be exhaling, and we're going to alternate. You should be doing this 10 to 12 times. 1, right to left, right to left. Upward. And once again, making sure that we're exhaling on the way out. Exhaling on the way up, inhaling as we're sucking in and tightening our core. You should always make sure that you have a tight core the entire time, and you're going to get the best work out of this exercise. And again, that's called the upward leg pull. All right, everybody, our next movement in the advanced series is number 16, the downward leg pull. What I'm going to start by doing here is getting myself into a push-up position, making sure that my hips, shoulders, and feet are all aligned together. Now, Well, from here, I'm going to be alternating, lifting my right and left legs. And I need to make sure that I'm lifting from my heel while maintaining a tight core the entire time. So if you lift with your heel, it's going to be a little bit more, it's going to be an easier motion. If I try to lift with my toe, I'm going to be using the backs of my legs and my hip flexors. If I lift my heel, a lot of what's going to be doing is it's going to be strengthening my core more because the focus is going to be there. So I'm in push-up position.
Hang on 1 second.
All right, so we're going to start in push-up position. My shoulders should be aligned with my arms should be directly aligned with my shoulders, and my weight should be evenly distributed between my feet and my toes. Between my feet and my hands. Now, from here, notice I can't have my butt sticking up in the air. I need to be down. Now I'm going to lift with my heel. I'm inhaling deeply. I'm going to lift with my heel and exhale on the way up. Inhale on the way down. And again, that's called the downward leg pull. All right, our next exercise is number 17, the side bend. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to start by laying flat on my side, my hip on the mat, my right leg in this case, because I'm on my right side, stretched outright. My left foot is going to be placed directly in front of my right shin, sole of my foot on the mat. Now, my right elbow is in line with my body, and from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I tighten my core, pulling my belly button in towards my spine, and I'm going to place my right hand on the mat, not back here. I need to make sure it is in line with my shoulder. So I'm going to scoot up, and I'm going to balance myself. I'm going to lift myself up into a plank position on the blade of my right foot and on the palm of my hand. So up, here. Now I need to make sure there's a slight arc in my body. Inward here. I'm going to hold the position. Exhale. Come back down. Again, I'm on my right side. My weight is supported by my right arm, my right elbow. My left foot is coming over. It's not supporting my weight here. It's just kind of hanging out. Now, my right hand, I'm going to come up. I'm going to push down with my right foot and with my right hand, and I'm going to raise my body into a plank position. Before, my body should be straight up, like at an angle, and then I'm going to go into a slight arc. Maintaining the position. This exercise will be repeated 10 to 12 times, and then you're going to switch to the other side. And again, this is called the side bend. All right, everybody, our next exercise is called the boomerang. This is one of the more difficult exercises that you're going to come across in the program, so make sure that you take it slow, and if this gives you any trouble whatsoever and any sort of pain, feel free to skip it and move on to the next one. Basically, what we're going to start by doing here is I'm going to sit upright, my feet in front of me, ankles crossed. Now, my hands are going to be at my sides, and I'm going to suck in my belly button as always, tightening my core, and I'm going to take my arms out behind me. I'm leaning forward, and now with my legs straight, I'm going to come back over my head. Maintaining the stretch, and now I'm going to sit up into a V-sit position with my arms coming up, leaning forward to touch my toes. Finally, I can come all the way forward and touch my toes. One more time. I'm sitting upright, feet crossed, sucking in my stomach, arms out behind me. I crunch my hips forward. And then I come backwards. Reach to touch your toes, and then finally, you can come forward and touch your toes. You can repeat this 10 to 12 times, and you can also switch the side that you're crossing your ankles over. And again, that's called the boomerang. All right, everybody, our next exercise, number 19 of the advanced program, is called the crab. This is a pretty simple one, and I like to do this one a lot. Basically, all I'm going to do is I'm going to sit cross-legged Indian style here, my back upright. In this particular exercise, it's important to make sure that you do maintain proper posture. Here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach forward, I'm going to grab my ankles or grab the base of my feet, and I'm going to sit up. Now, maintaining proper posture, inhaling tightly, sucking my belly button into my spine. I'm going to roll back towards my shoulders. And come back up, seated. From a different angle, over here. I'll roll back towards my shoulders. controlling the entire motion with my core. Roll back up, maintain the position. This can be repeated 10 to 12 times, and again, that's called the crab. Our next exercise, number 20 in the advanced program, is called rocking. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to lay flat on my stomach, and I'm going to bring my feet towards my butt, and I'm going to grab my ankles. It's important that I don't pull my ankles. I'm not trying to torque my knees or anything like that. I'm just trying to hold my ankles just to maintain the position. So I bring my feet close, 1, 2. Now I'm going to inhale, and I keep my head up off the mat. And now I'm going to rock forward and back. Bringing my chest up and down, and this is going to stretch out my spine, my lower back, and also my hamstrings. And again, this is called rocking. Our final exercise in the advanced program is called the control balance. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to start by laying flat on my back, and I'm going to stretch my legs out as far as they go. Before I even begin the exercise, I should be stretched out and trying to relax my body as much as possible. Now, from here, I'm going to suck my belly button in, tighten my core, and I'm going to take my right leg up in the air, 90 degrees, and then all the way over my head, So here, upright, I take my leg over my head and I catch it. My left leg here is now extended at a right angle to the ground up towards the ceiling. Now I'm going to switch, back and forth. These movements should be controlled and slow. And finally, this should be repeated 10 to 12 times. And finally, I'm now going to take both legs back over my head, all the way to the ground. One more time. My back's flat to the mat. I suck my belly button. My right leg comes up 90 degrees. It continues over my head. I'll catch it. I take my left leg up towards the ceiling. I'll switch. My back should be relaxed the entire time during this motion. And finally, after repeating this 10 to 12 times, sink all the way back. And that final exercise in our advanced program is called the control balance. All right, everybody, that concludes our advanced Pilates program. If you can work yourself through this on a consistent basis, you're going to increase your strength, your core strength, and your flexibility tremendously. I know it's helped me a lot. It can help you a lot too. As always, if an exercise is giving you any trouble, if it's bothering you or causing any pain or discomfort, stop it immediately, move on to one that doesn't bother you, and work your way back to that exercise. Also, sometimes you have a pre-existing injury that's going to give you trouble. You might have to skip certain exercises entirely. But remember, no exercise or no workout is worth getting yourself hurt over, because you're going to be out for a lot longer than it's worthwhile. So make sure you're always protecting yourself. Never do anything that's giving you any trouble. But again, if you can work yourself through this Pilates course a lot, this advanced course, the basic course is good, but the idea for the basic course is to feed you to this advanced course. And once you're through with this, it's going to really increase your flexibility a lot. I know it will. This is Ryan Hall, and I'll see you guys on the Pilates ball exercise video.